pleasure to introduce to you the first team who is going to present their work. This is Team IntelliNews, which is a collaboration between GMA Network from the Philippines and Helsingin Sanomat from Finland. They've built a tool called Sentinel, which is an advanced document comparison tool, and it is set to aid investigative projects. To tell us a little bit more about their project, we have with us today Elisa from Helsingin Sanomat and Bernice from GMA Network, who will run us through a presentation of their hard work from the last 7 months.
Hi, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bernice Sibucao, and I'm from Team IntelliNews. And today I'm going to talk about how we built the Sentinel, an AI-powered document comparison tool that can help newsrooms discover insights and connections for their reporting needs. So first, a background on our team. IntelliNews is a collaboration between GMA Network, the Philippines' largest broadcasting company, and Helsingin Sanomat, the largest subscription newspaper in Finland. And so here are the lovely faces behind IntelliNews. So my teammates are Rodel Arenas, Paivi Alariscu, and here with me is Elisa Bestetti. Now we talk about building the Sentinel, and just to clarify, we don't mean this guy. So the Sentinel is an abbreviation for our tool. It stands for Semantic Evaluation and Natural Text Intelligence for Newsroom Evidence Linking. Next slide, please. So we built the Sentinel with this real-life problem in mind. Most of us here know and have experienced how producing investigative pieces entail heavy research and review of many documents. And add to that fact that in newsrooms, it's almost always a fast-paced environment where the ability to quickly compare documents proves paramount. Next slide, please. So that's why in the publics and maybe newbie journalists would have this kind of expectation of how investigative reports work. Where a reporter is focused, organized, locked in, and, can still show up to the office looking like they had a decent night's sleep. Next slide, please. But some of us here know that, what investigative reporting really looks like. Often it's like being a real life version of this It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme. So if you're familiar with this Pepe Sylvia conspiracy meme, you will get it. Next slide, please. And so with this in mind, our team asked ourselves when we were developing the Sentinel, so how can we fast track the reviewing and the checking of documents without compromising the quality of journalism? So for example, in our case at GMA Network, we're already doing pre-production research for our upcoming senatorial debates because next May 2025, we're going to have our midterm elections. So we asked, how can we quickly check if voting records, say, for example, of re-electionists match up with their previous campaign promises? And another real-life scenario could be doing investigative piece on certain types of crimes. So you want to quickly check how similar cases are justified based on a set of court judgments. So, with these questions, the Sentinel can help with this. Next slide, please. And so here is where the Sentinel comes in. So just a quick project overview before I turn it over to Elisa. So the Sentinel is a cutting-edge document comparison tool that uses retrieval augmented generation and LLMs that can help journalists quickly analyze and compare sets of documents. So apart from English, because the Sentinel, again, is a collaborative project, it can recognize the national and regional languages in Finland and in the Philippines. And so, Elisa, take it away.
Yes, thank you. So I will show you a quick demo of the tool. The tool is common, but we have slightly different formatting of the output. This is why there is a choice of newsroom at the beginning. So you can choose, we have 3 different models that we wanted to test that we can choose. So let's go to the tab where we can upload documents and see what documents have been previously uploading. And we wanted, because not always we know what is in the documents, so we wanted to find the topics that are present in the documents. And here we select, it's an election program of the Finns party in Finland. So we generate the topics for every chunk of text And the topics found are color labeled. So here we can check what topics are in every chunk of text, and the color helps also see which topics are more present in the document, and we can check is it even annotated correctly. And let's go now to the main functionality of our tool, the document analysis. So we select two documents, the election program of the Finns party in Finland, the government program, and we want to, select as language English. We want to ask about climate change. What differences and similarities there are regarding that topics. Here there are also some pre-written topics that we can choose from. And here is the result of the analysis. Here are the retrieved chunks, the most similar chunks retrieved by our RAG. And here is the analysis, the similarities and differences found. And a short summary. And we can give a feedback to the analysis generated, and the feedbacks are gathered in the feedback page, and they can also be downloaded as a CSV to be analyzed. And going back to the document analysis page, I show you some advanced feature. For example, if we have previously found the topics from a certain models, we can see the topics here. And when we can merge them with the pre-written topics and selecting them from the drop down. Then I can show you that, yes, we support English, Finnish, and the regional languages of Philippines. We have experimented with some advanced semantic search functionality, like the expanded queries or extracting the chunks in equal number per documents, or depending on the similarity score. And then we have experimented also with some advanced text analysis, like word clouds, sentiment analysis, keywords, and entities. And then the last functionality is a RAG chatbot. So here we can ask further questions to our RAG system about our documents, and that was a demo. So, sorry, yes. So the RAG retrieval augmented generation is the main technology we use in our tool, and it combines the power of large language models with the knowledge from our documents. It is like giving the artificial intelligence system the ability to think that comes from the language model and the specific information from our documents. And in practice, it works at first. The documents are divided into chunks of text and converted into vector embeddings. So turning the text into mathematical representation that capture their meaning. And then these embeddings are stored in a vector database. And when the user asks a question, so the system performs a similarity search on the vectorized chunks and retrieves the most similar chunks. And then these chunks are provided to the context together with the prompt and the query. And the answer is generated based on these chunks of our documents. And so we developed our tool entirely in Python. We use Streamlit for user interface because it allowed a very quick prototyping and developing of different features. We use ChromaDB for the document indexing and storage, ChromaDB for the vector similarity search, text embedding 3 large as embedding model. We experimented with 3 different models, GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and Gemini Pro. The temperature parameter in the LLMs is set to 0 because we wanted to produce deterministic output. And we made testing with deep eval. And most of our functionality is prompt-based, so a big part of our work has been writing and refining the prompts. For example, the comparison is prompt-based, topic modeling, query expansion, summarization, and language translation.
Thank you for that, Elisa. So as you guys have seen, so developing the Sentinel is a bit complicated, like most AI-driven projects, and actually any projects that are collaborative in nature. And with that, challenges are unavoidable. So some of the challenges that we have encountered during the development of the Sentinel, first was the handling and processing diverse types of documents. So the wide variety of document formats and languages initially complicated our standardization and compatibility during the development of the tool. And second was fine-tuning the questions. So we had to make sure that for the Sentinel to give useful comparisons, we cannot write in vague or too general questions when templating the prompts. And third, of course, were time-based challenges. So differences in time zones hampered our coordination for a bit. And there were also regional holidays and, of course, work time constraints that often disrupted our operations. And fourth, there were also a lot of uncontrollable factors. So for our case in the Philippines, we had unexpected disruptions like super typhoons, power outages, and other natural disasters, that really delayed our timelines in terms of, developing the project. And fifth is more about focus. So during the early days of our fellowship, we wanted to develop multiple features in the Sentinel, but we found out quickly that maybe that's not such a good idea because it would conflict with the need to prioritize, the core functionality of the Sentinel, which is document comparison. And six will be logistical hurdles. So challenges include accessing our funds, both within our organization and in the fellowship. So in that way, we really had to be smart about allocating our resources when we were developing the tool. And then seven will be diverse work styles. So, being from different countries, we of course encountered language barriers. People just being people, we each had different styles when it comes to working, and also when it comes to solving and workflows, which led to some miscommunications and inefficiencies. And eight will be internal testing limitations because, this is a product development project. So securing dedicated teams for testing within our newsrooms often competed with other internal priorities. So this led to delays in gathering critical user feedback. Next slide, please. So for learnings, of course, we all know this, user feedback and systematic testing were key. So these were essential for aligning the Sentinel with user needs and identifying issues to improve the reliability and performance of the Sentinel. And we also learned that defining the problem precisely is very crucial because document comparison sounds simple, but specifying exactly what we want to compare and how we convey that to the AI was a different matter altogether. So we had to be clear about the problem definition and what the end goal looks like for our users. And also there's also handling Gen AI's tendencies. So as some of you may know that Gen AI often has the propensity to please the users and to view things positively. So for example, it was a challenge for us to train it to understand politically nuanced language. So we learned from the get-go that it was important for us to be vigilant about these kinds of tendencies of AI. And of course, good communication and project management, because in any projects, miscommunications and misunderstandings happen. But clear and effective communication, especially with the guidance of project managers, in case you guys want to apply also for this fellowship. So guidance of project managers and communication can quickly resolve issues and realign the team towards its goals. Next. And so for the future development of our tool, so Helsingin Sanomat will integrate the Sentinel in their existing broader document analyzer tool. While for us at GMA Network, we will develop the tool to include recognition of images and other types of file formats, for example, Excels and PowerPoints. And we want to integrate the tool in our CMS. And that's it. Thank you. If you have further questions about Sentinel, here are the emails of the project managers.
Thank you so much, Bernice and Elisa. That was such a great presentation, and obviously all of your hard work really shows through in this. For those of you who have questions for them, please use the Q&A functionality because the chat gets very busy and we may lose some questions. Just to start off, before we move on to all the questions on the Q&A, Bernice and Elisa, I know that the process of getting into the fellowship was also not very straightforward in the sense you didn't just apply. It was a matchmaking process that you went through where you identified each other's organizations to work with. So going from there to now, what was your favorite part about this collaboration and your biggest learning from all of this?
My biggest learning from all of this is just really good communication can really help. So from the get-go, I think the matchmaking process for Helsingin, Sanomat, and GMA, it was very simple because we really aligned our goals during the beginning of the fellowship. And really just, defining, for example, okay, what should our meeting time be weekly, and having those kinds of, conditions already can, help the project to be smooth sailing. And for me, my favorite part of this whole fellowship was actually meeting Elisa and Ivy in person, because for the longest time I was just seeing them on Zoom as avatars, and being able to meet them in person and talk to them more, beyond the scope of our fellowship, that was my favorite part of the whole program.
Yes, for me as well, because we really met every week for 6 months. So it was really great to meet in person.
Amazing. That's really great to hear. And I think now we also have some questions that have come in from the different participants of the webinar. So I think I'll read out the question, but if you feel like you want to answer any one question, feel free to take it yourselves. The first question is from Jason Norwood. Oh, I think the question's answered. Yara is asking, is it possible to embed more languages?
It means to produce the output in more languages. Yes, not as an actual tool, but it's really easy.
Thank you. Jan is asking if the tool is open source or proprietary.
It's not open source at the moment.
Yeah, it's proprietary for now, but let's see. It depends really on our organizations and how they want, to move forward with the tool.
Perfect. Arlene wants to know, were any of the journalists in the Sentinel project coders as well? I'm assuming if you have a tech team, which, yeah, I'll let you answer, yeah.
I think for Elisa, Elisa is both a journalist and a coder. For GMA's and I tap the tech arm of GMA Network. So the programmer Rodel Arenas isn't a journalist, but she's really a coder and programmer in training. And it's just a matter of coordinating with him what we wanted the tool to look like.
Thanks, Bernice. Callum wants to know what future developments or advancements you see for your tool.
We will, as at Helsingin Sanomat, we will integrate in more broad document comparison tool. What we would like to have is working for many documents, because it's something that is needed, for example, like hundreds of documents, but
Yeah, for GMA again, we want to develop the image recognition, because, for example, a lot of documents in the Philippines are not OCR ready or not machine ready. So most of them are scanned. So for us to really maximize this tool, we need to have image recognition functioning. So yeah, we plan to develop that before our elections next year.
Amazing. Are there any specific questions that you feel like you'd like to take from the Q&A? Otherwise, I can go to the next one.
You can take the next one, actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
it's a
I
lot,
think
so
that'll be
I don't
simpler because there
know.
are a lot of questions
Yeah,
in
there are a
one.
lot.
Yeah. The question from Michelle, who asks, how long did it take to get from the start of the project to a functional MVP? And are there plans to build a tool template that could be personalized and reutilized by other media?
For the project functional MVP, I think 2 to 3 months, because we even before the deadline of the low res presentation, at least for the timeline of the fellowship, we were already building the low res version of the tool. So I get 2 to 3 months before the functional MVP.
Yes, and we have very quickly 2 other demos.
Mhm.
Then
And then with regard to template could be personalized or utilized by other media, again, it will depend on our organizations because right now it's proprietary. But yeah, let's hope that they will be open to, making it open source.
Super. Eman, Fatima wants to know, as you said, there are many languages that have been included. Is Urdu one of them? And how can you check the authenticity of any information?
Urdu is not included because we didn't code it with languages beyond, Finnish and the Filipino. Right now, on authenticity of any information, at least for our end at GMA, we made sure, for example, when our researchers were testing this, we told them to not completely rely on the tool and to still cross-check the comparisons and the differences that were given by the Sentinel. How about on your end, Elisa?
and also the output gives us some excerpt from the document to check from where the claims come.
Cool. I'm going to go to the next question from Vish Patel, which is, isn't the dialect and languages a major issue as most languages are still not digital native? How do you plan to fix that?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Also, we checked the tool only with the languages we needed, so Finnish and the regional languages of Philippines and
Yeah,
English.
at least for the Philippines, if some of you know here, there are like around 100 languages in the Philippines. So for the tool, we made sure to just work on like 5 major languages in the Philippines to make sure that um it's not that complicated when it comes to coding, and also for the output to be um more precise as well.
Thank you. I think Vikas's question has already been answered. Let's move to David's question. David is a journalist who has taken time out of his work to do a semester in computer science. He understands the broad approach about this complex project, but wants to know whether newsrooms using small teams of hybrid professionals, whether newsrooms can use small teams of hybrid professionals, or are AI and LLMs just too complex? I think this is more of a professional question then. Do you guys want to answer that?
Sure.
Be
Okay,
professionals like or AI or
cool. We'll move to the next question from Jeremy. Were you able to generate stories directly from the results of any searches? How well did journalists adapt to the tool? Was their feedback generally positive?
Right now, we haven't, at least for GMA's end, we haven't produced stories from it yet because we're still testing. For example, during the State of the Nation address of our president back in July, our researchers already read almost all of the documents, and they just want to check if the Sentinel would actually give, actually truthful comparisons. And in that way, that's how they tested it. And in terms of how gender journalists adapted to the tool, it's more of at least at GMA's end. The feedback was generally positive because it really helps cut down downtime when it comes to research and pre-production. But for example, they want additional features in the tool. For example, if they want the comparisons to be downloaded in PDF, And yeah, so there was another one who was asking me if there was like a mobile app for the tool, but we're not ready for that kind of development. How about for Helsingin Sanomat, Elisa?
Yes, it has just been tested. No stories were produced yet, but yes, feedback was positive. Something like being able to analyze more documents than 3, 4, 5 is something that was asked and probably developed in the future.
Thank you. I think I'll combine the next two questions. One is from Hemant and the other one is from Jan. Hemant wants to know, does it keep a history of comparison? Jan wants to know, oh, sorry, not from Jan. I'll take the question from Rama, which is this tool standalone or integrated into a CMS? And the second question was, does it keep a history of comparison?
So it's a standalone. It is really like developed in Streamlit. So it's just at the moment a demo. And it doesn't keep history, but the tool that we are going to develop in Helsingin Sanomat will.
Super. And Jan's question is, for OCR, are there specific libraries or tools that you are using to parse tabular data?
We haven't developed that yet. It's just an idea for further development, but we didn't do it.
Yeah, for that, we're actually going to purchase some Llama Cloud credits because it's one of the best LLMs for now that can parse through tabular data and other types of files. So yeah, it's part of the development of our tool in the future.
Great. And Ahmad wants to ask how many documents at max can be uploaded? Is there any ideal number of documents to analyze?
I think ideal is 2, but it performs well also up to 5 at the moment.
Okay. Vikas wants to know how it's different from Google Pinpoint.
Elisa, you will be want to answer
Mm.
that. I haven't used Pinpoint in a long while, so I
Yes,
can't.
I don't know so Google Pinpoint at the moment as well.
Thank you. I think the last question, I think this is a self-explanatory question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is this a free tool or does it have options for paid versions?
Well, it's a free tool for for GMA Network and LC in Sanomat. But yeah, let's see if our organizations would want to release this tool into the wild, and maybe there will be paid versions for that. Yeah, let's see.
Okay, perfect. Just one last question. So I know both of your organizations are planning on using the tool in various ways going forward. But I know many people have also asked whether there are plans to open source it at some point. So is that ever going to be a consideration for you?
Well, personally, I would want it to be open source, but yeah, it will depend on our organizations.
Yeah, it's the same for us.
Amazing. Thank you so much.